Is that a Ventolin inhaler?
Yes, it's Ventolin brand. Other inhaler brands do.
Hi, listener. I want to talk to you about Ventolin. 2GM is brought to you by our good friends at Ventolin. Do you find yourself short of breath owing to asthma? Then I recommend Ventolin brand inhalers.
How don't GSK have people killed?
I think so. Yeah, almost certainly.
Maybe we shouldn't start with
mostly rats, monkeys, and beagles. Possibly. I don't know.
Allegedly.
Other large pharma organisations are available.
I'm not saying that GlaxoSmithKline do test on animals. I'm just saying that my understanding of testing for drugs that will save human lives is that that's a perfectly reasonable way to go about it. If they do it, then fine. I'm not making a judgment, but I don't think they do. They probably don't.
Anyway, how can GSK be held accountable for other life forms not evolving as effectively as we have?
No, exactly.
It's their problem, isn't it? Really.
You asked me about my inhaler,
yes,
and then quickly lost interest.
Yeah,
I noticed that. Yeah.
Well, you started talking about GSK, and I thought, well, here's a chance to stick it to the man. Tell me about your inhaler.
I have asthma. People have asked me, is it a preventative one? Is it a preventative inhaler and I don't know. Apparently, I just use it when I'm feeling a bit short of breath. I apparently have asthma. After 41 years, I discovered this. I went in for a breathing test. I failed it. Oh. And then they gave me a few hits of Ventolin, and then I went away for half an hour, and then I came back, and I did well on the tests. And apparently the only way that can be the case with these particular tests, which are basically just blowing into a tube,
lol,
which didn't seem very scientific, the only way that can be the case is if you have asthma.
Oh dear. Was this? Are you sure this was a real doctor?
It was a nurse lady.
What did the tube look like?
It was a tube with a gauge attached. It's kind of like those.
Did it have a sailor attached to it?
When you do the hammer and the thing goes up and hits the bell, it's kind of like that.
Was there a very tall, strong man with a curly moustache stood next to it?
No, and there was this other thing where you had to blow and sustain the breath for a really long time, and I really struggled with that. And I was convinced that basically after half an hour, because when I went in the first time, I didn't really know what to expect. And when I came back after half an hour, I did know what to expect, and I thought that potentially that might be why my test was better the second time. But she said no, it's definitely the Ventolin. So apparently I have asthma, and a few people have said, "Oh, but asthma's not that big a deal," and they're right. Kind of like discovering you need to wear glasses after 30 years or something. 40 years.
You say that if you're caught, say, at a rave without a Ventolin inhaler when you need one, you're having an asthma attack. You're going to, that's no big deal. It's a big deal.
Did you have that happen?
No, just one of my favourite ever tapes from, you remember raves? They used to do tape sets from raves. So each of the DJs would have their set taped, and then they'd sell a set of tapes at about 12 tapes or so that you'd buy, and you'd listen to the rave basically. And there was a one that we were very fond of. There was a hardcore techno DJ called Clarky, and he was playing a really good set.
Clarky, not the Clarky.
No, he wasn't cruel. All he did was play slamming techno, but
banging tunes.
You've always got the MC. Always got the MC on it, and this I believe was MC
Master Controller.
This I believe was MC Sharkey, who hailed from Southampton.
I think I knew of him.
But halfway through the set, he does a bit of a rewind, and you hear Sharkey asking if anyone's got a Ventolin inhaler. It's an emergency. Has anyone got a Ventolin inhaler? So that became a bit of a joke for me and my friends when we were raving. He's going, "Has anybody got a Ventolin inhaler?"
Did anybody? Was this before or after the Aphex Twin song? About
it was well before it. This would have been. I don't know. This would have been in Milton Keynes in the very early 90s.
But that doesn't. All right, okay. I was going to say because it just being in Milton Keynes doesn't date it.
It was a Helter Skelter tape pack.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but the So it is, strictly speaking, it's good. I was finding I was short of breath. at various times during the working day over a period of a couple of months. It's only come on in the
you don't
last...
do a very physical job, so that must...
No, I do a very sedentary job. Sedentary.
And you're not fat enough to have, like, fat resting breath, as described by Womp comic.
I am quite fat.
No, you're not fat enough to have fat resting breath.
I'm not fat enough.
FRB.
That should go on my CV.
Yeah.
Or on my dating profiles. I don't have a dating profile. So people have said, but so it must be a relief. At least you've got asthma's not so bad, and at least you've got a diagnosis. The thing is, over the course of my life, there have been maybe 2 or 3 times when I've had anxiety attacks with serious shortness of breath. But recently I've been having a few of them, like it's become a problem rather than something that happens during really stressful times, and I've known exactly what it is. And I've known people who've had asthma attacks, recurring anxiety attacks, and have had to go to hospital because they have thought they are going to die because they can't breathe. Although one guy, I think he started really liking the lady ambulance person who was coming around on that late shift, so I think he maybe had a few more because of that. Erection-induced anxiety attacks.
Yeah, faking asthma attacks is very rarely a good way to meet women, though. The
story only works if we don't make the mistake that I keep making of saying anxiety attacks and asthma attacks and just mixing them up. But the way I've been dealing with anxiety attacks, the anxiety attacks I've been having, the way I've been fine with them and okay, and just, don't worry, this is just an anxiety attack, is because in the back of my mind I know that it's just an anxiety attack. It doesn't matter how much it feels like I'm going to die because I can't get a breath. That won't happen, because with anxiety attacks, as I understand it, what happens is you feel like you can't catch a breath, At the very worst, you will pass out and your body will take over and you'll be fine. So what I've effectively learned is when, for example, I had to leave a meeting recently because I was having what I thought was an anxiety attack, and I was just walking down the corridor thinking, it's okay, I'll be okay. It's just an anxiety attack. I could have died.
Yeah, that was foolish.
Well, but I don't know. I didn't know I had fucking asthma.
Well, I mean, it was very nice of you to try and coach yourself, but to be fair, you're not qualified to do so.
Well, I've always survived before. Well, so I've just been really lucky.
Purely by luck, yeah. as it would seem.
I'm getting a bit breathy now.
Do you need to have a little poppy of Ventolin brand inhaler?
I want to leave it.
It looks really Orwellian as well. It's got a big V in the middle. They haven't changed since I was a kid.
They haven't changed since we were children.
That's incredible. They're just even the same fucking colour.
They haven't bothered changing the shade.
Yeah.
It's they basically patented this particular design back in the 1950s or something.
The only thing that's different about the one that you're holding in your hand is it hasn't got a snotty-nosed kid attached to it.
So basically, I'm having to learn how to do vent. So add to the list of things I'm physically not very skilled at doing. The first time I had to use it in anger, without a nurse there watching what I was doing, I sprayed Ventolin all over my tongue and had to deal with the aftertaste for ages.
How does it taste? Would you like to? Is it umami?
It's not nice. What's umami?
That's the other taste. You got sweet, sour, bitter.
Tastes like nausea.
An umami.
Is that nausea?
Is it sweet, sour? No. Is it sweet, sour, bitter and umami, or sweet, sour and umami? I can't remember.
It doesn't feel remotely like a tsunami. We made a promise to ourselves, and I haven't stuck to it. Hang on. So, listener, did you like the previous 2 episodes that we pre-recorded? Because we've listened back to them. We thought they were really good. And part of that is that they're about 20 minutes shorter than the normal episodes. We can't help you with that one. This is going to be an hour long again. Sorry. To
be fair, bear in mind, as far as my performance is concerned, I'd had the day off as well.
Yeah.
So I was quite relaxed.
So there was that, but also we were on a very tight time schedule. We didn't really have a lot of choice, did we?
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I think they turned out surprisingly well. Yeah. People have been nice to us about them as well.
You kept focused. You weren't pissing about with your phone during the show.
I'm setting a timer.
Why are you putting a timer on?
Can you see that?
No. Yes.
It says it's wrong.
Does your phone not change its orientation if you move it?
It does, but I have to. It uses up power, so I've changed it.
All right. Okay.
Oh, God, did you think that the only people who'd managed to nail the whole screen rotation thing were Apple or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're wrong.
All right.
So it's only been a week since the last episode went out.
Yeah.
But it's been this is Two Grown Men, by the way.
Hi.
I think it's number 54.
Yeah, something like that.
It's only been a week since the last episode, but James and I haven't seen each other in
3
weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 and a bit weeks.
Yeah.
And that must be the longest we've gone without seeing each other
It's a long time.
since my honeymoon.
Yeah, I think so. Which you just wouldn't let me come on, would you? It's not fair. Amy really had views about that.
Yeah.
When you get married next time, can I come on that honeymoon?
Yeah, when Amy and I recommit our vows.
Yeah, whatever. But because it doesn't mean so much second time round, does it?
No, that's what I've heard. So, you've been on holiday.
Yes, I went to Devon.
I've been dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
But during that time, our children have been doing stuff.
They have. Scarlett did.
What's Scarlett been doing?
Scarlett started school.
Started school?
Scarlett started school. We had our first day. I had the longest holiday I've had since I left school, actually. I had 2.5 weeks off, which is very unusual for me. The reason I had the extra half week off at the end of my holiday was to be there for our first day. Mm-hmm. We've done an awful lot of prep. We've tried to make the idea of going to school something really exciting, something really positive. I want to give her as good a start to her scholastic career as possible. We continue to support her, obviously, as she goes through it.
You weren't hoping that was it. You've set her up.
Off you go.
Off you go, yeah.
We've even augmented the bedtime routine, so that's a lot more regimented than it used to be. Scarlett's very fond of the iPad. No iPad in the last hour before bed, and she's been going to sleep a lot better as well. So
she's not overstimulated.
Exactly. But for a long while now, we've been trying to prep her and make school something that she really actively wants to do. She went to some sessions before she left nursery, before the last term ended, that allowed her to acclimatise, which she enjoyed. But also there's been things like CBeebies have been really helpful. There's believe it or not, a documentary series on CBeebies called Time for School. It's in its second series now, and it follows a group of reception class children in a big city environment and a rural setting. And they're really engaging, really interesting, but kids get to see it's a real, genuine, fly-on-the-wall insight into what it's like to start school, be part of a reception class. So Scarlett had some preconceptions, which I think were relatively accurate in terms of what to expect. The first day itself went really well. She went in, Nikki and I went in together after getting there a little bit too early, so we misjudged the walk. Mm-hmm. But we went in, had a look around.
Too late.
Very much so. I had a look around. It's very nice. They've had some work done over the summer. So
the teachers?
The school.
All right.
So
okay.
it's a lot bigger than it was. And we got used to stuff. Put her PE bag on her peg and all this sort of stuff. And she went off and started playing in one of the areas. Really well equipped classrooms as well. Lots more. I don't remember so many toys in my reception class. I remember. It was. I think there were actually banks of desks. It was very regimented anyway, so it's quite a laid back environment. Lots of toys. Nikki and I were talking and having a look around. Looked behind us, and said something to Scarlett, and she completely ignored us. So I just said to Nicola, "Well, I think it's probably time to go." So we managed to get her attention, said goodbye, and left. And we were only there for about 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most. In the end, well, we expected they said you could stay for half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. We fully expected to be there for the whole time. So we're quite impressed when we weren't. Scarlett's fortitude, so no tears at all. Picked her up that afternoon. She was full of excitement. She's full of beans, really enjoyed it. And the thing that made me happiest, and it was my first day at work, so I needed a bit of cheering up, but she woke up on the Thursday morning, opened her eyes, and the first thing she said to me was, "Yay, school!"
That's cool.
Which was awesome. So she's loving being a schoolgirl. It's making her feel ever so mature. She's made some friends already. It's been really positive, nice experience. I like as well, Scholastic have provided book bags for all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So she's come home with books that we're sharing as well, and sort of, well, I mean, we read to her every night anyway, but...
I'm guessing they're not for your age group, though.
No, they're a little bit older.
Okay, cool.
They're for 45 to 50-year-olds.
When you said that Scarlett woke up ready for school, it just reminded me of something that happened over the weekend.
Cool.
I'll backtrack to talk more about the whole weekend, but one thing that Noah did, we had a very big day on Sunday. where he was awake for a really long time, behaving really well. There was lots of sort of external stimulus, so lots of relatives and nice people talking to him and stuff. So he was knackered by the end of the day. He didn't get to sleep during the day.
Yeah.
So he was knackered. And we stopped at my in-laws' house for just 5 or 10 minutes just to pick up all of the stuff we'd left there because we were staying there overnight.
Sure.
And while we were doing that, Amy managed to transfer Noah from the car seat where he was sleeping to his granddad, who looks more like me than anyone's really comfortable with, and only his beard's in slightly better shape, and actually he's in slightly better shape. But anyway, so managed to transfer this sleeping baby onto him. So we were sat around, parents-in-law, my parents-in-law, Amy's parents. That's how that works. And Amy and I, and Noah was just sleeping on his granddad, and everyone was talking, like not too quietly, just quietly. And normally when Noah wakes up, he kind of wakes up slowly, but his eyes opened. He sat bolt upright. He clapped 2 or 3 times.
Awesome.
As if he was applauding something with this big smile on his face, and then just went straight off again.
Brilliant.
It was weird. It was so cute, though. Anyway, so that's, So anyway, school.
Sometimes they're terrifying, aren't they?
Children.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was cute.
I think,
I mean, I assumed that something really nice had happened in his dream.
Fair enough. I think for Nikki, I shouldn't speak for her too much, but I think for Nikki there's a...
She's not here.
That's true. That's true. There's a period of acclimatisation. She was better than I expected her to be. Nikki's been very emotional. Obviously, the last 18 months, she's been Scarlett's...
She's been very emotional the last 18 months.
She's been living with me, mate. So she's done a remarkable job. She's been Scarlett's primary carer. And I think it's been rewarding for both of us, and I think Scarlett's definitely benefited from that. But I think Nikki was fearing the letting go. You know, there is this sort of sense of, you know, well, that's it. Society's got us now. We're part of the bigger machine. You know, we go on holiday when the government dictates we go on holiday now. You know, we do what everyone else does. We have to conform. And it's not just Scarlett that has to conform. We have to conform too, you know?
Sure.
So that's been the difficulty for me, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't like having my life dictated to me too overtly in that way. Whereas Nikki, I think there was, you know, the obvious emotional attachment with Scarlett being with her all the time and giving her a sort of centre to her world where she's been off, and having to let her go into the big bad world and start not fending for herself but, you know, this is the start of a 12-year journey that will spit her out as in her mid to late teens, you know. So it's,
well, at which point she'll be unrecognisable and won't want to talk to you anyway.
I would have thought so. So it's also a very exciting time. I'm really excited about her learning, and I want to go on. I'm really excited to go on that journey with her. You know, there's things I want to share. There's things I want to learn with her. There's, you know, when we were on holiday, we were walking in the forest nearby, and we were pointing things out and spending lots of really good quality time. Just me and Scarlett. She went walking with the dogs. That's not really to do with Nicola. I've got sidetracked. I'm sorry. But Nikki, it's been really good as well. Nikki's a very sociable person, does gel with people quite easily. She will talk to people much more comfortably than I will. So she's made a couple of friends there already, people she's seen at the gate. She's going to be picking up someone else's child for them as well, because she got talking to someone and there's some complications in their life. That means we're gonna have this kid over till 5:30 every day. So it's been quite interesting to sort of see Nikki sort of negotiating the being the school mum process, becoming transmogrifying into a school mum, and the
patriarchy's well and truly got a hold of your family. Yes,
absolutely. I mean, this isn't the way it was going to be. You know, I remember as kids in our 20s, and we used to talk about what our lives were. You know, how do we want our lives to pan out? And it was always, well, Nikki always earned more money than me. Nikki had a career. That was always going to be me. It was always going to be me taking the kid to school. It was always going to be me picking them up. I was going to be
always going to be you wearing the dress.
Yeah. I was always going to be the primary carer. It's kind of weird that it's turned out like this. Nikki's now looking for part-time work, so that fits around school. That was never part of the plan, and I feel almost guilty admitting this, because it does mean that, I'm indoctrinated to feel rewarded by being part of the patriarchy, but I find it really rewarding that, I know when he goes to work and Nikki's working part-time, but there feels a point to work. There feels like a purpose to my working life that I've never, ever had before at the moment, and that's because I'm bringing home the wage that helps support us. So actually it gives more focus, whereas when Nikki earned more money than me, I was earning a little bit of supplemental and it didn't give me that sense of purpose.
Just makes me angry.
Why?
No, I mean, knowing that just makes me... I don't get the same... Maybe it'll be different when Noah's at school, but right now I find... I'm not angry with Noah or Amy at all, but it doesn't make me feel better about work. Work feels like something that keeps me away from Noah.
It also helps. It also helps that I'm mentally speaking in a much better place than everything feels a lot better than it did a few months ago, a year ago.
I never will be because apparently my problems aren't anxiety related; they're asthma related.
Oh wow!
So all of that, the mailing list, the last few mailing lists, where if you read them now, because it's been a long time since I've done one of the mailing lists, I will get back to it. I promise. It's just everything's crazy at the moment. Where it looked like I was slowly spiraling and getting worse and worse, and then the mailing list just stopped dead at the point where it looked like I was either going to pull it together or I was just going to end it all. Is it too soon to say stuff like that?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So if you only read the mailing list and you didn't listen to the podcast, that would be pretty bleak, wouldn't it? But luckily that isn't the case.
Very strange way to interact with this show as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but apparently that's all. It's all in my head. I mean, literally, I'm probably fine. I just have asthma.
It's all in your head, along with the voices.
It's been a weird few weeks. There's something that I didn't talk about on the last episode, the last recording we did, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it right now, but we've talked about my big Greek family and how weird it is before. We had a very tragic death in our family. Again, that's somebody else's story, and this is why I haven't talked about it on Facebook, and I've just tried to keep, because it's not it's a member of my family that a lot of my family is very affected by, but I didn't really know the person. I just
understandably,
know that
those who are close to the individual, I can understand them being greatly affected by it.
So this is why when you say that it's a bit weird, that my relationship, like being in this huge family, is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty weird for me as well, because I'm not really. I tend to keep people at a distance anyway, a little bit,
sure.
and so. But one thing is, we did go to the funeral, and I haven't seen my family in that sort of situation very often, because for all that we're a huge family, it's only the second or third family funeral I've been to, and there are over 100 of us, so it's kind of...
That's incredible. I've got you beaten hands down, and my family's tiny.
Yeah, I know, and I mean, that's just English families. I don't know your tragedy magnets, I guess. So which is interesting, because Greeks, we kind of invented the tragedy, as far as I know. But
we perfected it.
But just like anal sex.
No, that's the Roman and the Greek, isn't it?
Yeah, but you perfected it.
Not me, mate. No.
But so the funeral was amazing, because as many of my family as were there, and as many of the local Greek community were there, because it was reported in the Greek community, and it's obviously the Greek Cypriot community, so they're all quite maybe not as close knit as they used to be, but there's definitely a feeling there of. There were just hundreds and hundreds of teenagers who were like friends of the person.
Yeah.
And just seeing how...
uninhibited?
Uninhibited's kind of the word, but kind of the wrong word, because it sounds quite upbeat, uninhibited.
Okay.
But you're on the right lines. Teenagers, we're used to being, especially the boys, all bravado. Teenagers are just... working out who they want to be, and who society wants them to be, and mostly society wins out. There's lots of posturing, there's lots of bravado. Totally gone. And it made me... Ideologically, I like teenagers.
Yeah.
But in person, I tend to find them quite annoying. So it was very moving to see and to continue to see on Facebook and in various places the outpouring of this totally sincere and unmannered grief. I expected it from my family. I wasn't expecting it from all of these hundreds of teenagers, mostly boys, because he was on a football team. They had a minute's silence on the pitch, and like they're still talking about it now, and it's not been very long, but they're still talking about it. It was quite amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and I'm very peripheral to this, I'm not having a lot of experience this, but I'm seeing my family kind of deal with it. We're also finding out what the X Factor machine and the media machine is like.
Okay.
Because this situation, and for all I know it's completely sincere, has become part of someone on X Factor's journey.
Oh, goodness.
So we've gone from me reading an article on the Mail site and the Mirror site about this death, and actually being surprised by how straightforwardly the facts were delivered.
Sure.
Considering it's a British teen dying abroad and stuff like that. To seeing the same papers starting to make that happen as peripheral to somebody on a TV show's story.
That's ugly.
And it's not really affecting me because I don't really know the ins and outs of all of it, but I'm already starting to see, and it's quite early in the series, I'm already starting to see sort of people dealing with it. So it's interesting because those are two completely opposite sides to like seeing how young modern teenagers react to a sincere tragedy, and then seeing how modern media handles the exact same thing is quite weird. But yeah. And it's quite surreal because we're dealing with this all very peripherally, and I'm apparently even worse at talking to people when the emotional stakes are as high as not wanting to hurt them more than they're already hurt, because it feels like anything you'll say in a situation like that is hurtful. I've already talked about it more than I intended to. But we had a christening this week. We went to a christening at the weekend, which is kind of the other end of the...
Very much.
And it was interesting because one was a very Greek Orthodox. The funeral was in a huge, ornate, stained glassy, lots of icons everywhere, Greek Orthodox church.
Did the vicar have one of those proper long biker beards?
At the
Greek one.
Greek one. Oh yeah, all of them do.
They rock some impressive beards, Greek vicars, don't they?
So there was that, and that's all very iconic and ornate. And then this was in a little rural, little village church. I guess Christian.
Sounds very C of E.
There's a rector.
Oh, that's very C of E.
Is it C of E? I don't know. And I'm not gonna. It was nice. It was nice. The rector was a young guy, quite upbeat, very friendly, very inclusive. It was a very gaudy ceremony, but then you expect that because it is a church.
He insists in his house. He insists on that in his house.
Yeah.
You're in my house, you have to abide by my rules, and you have to send me the salutations.
I found it unusual how I, as an atheist of very long standing, a little A atheist of very long standing, and now a big A agnostic of quite long standing as well, the thing that bugged me the most for quite a lot of it was, why is it still a he? Why are we still so insistent that it's very he? It's very much a he the whole way through. Why do I care about that? I don't believe in it anyway. It doesn't. But anyway, It was generally very nice. There was an unusual bit there was a little bit where the whole congregation did a little. There was a little prayer of confession that we were all.
Really?
So I'm covered for a little bit. It wasn't you go off in a little, but it was just assuming that we all had stuff to confess.
Maybe it is
nice.
Catholic. Oh, I don't know now.
No, it isn't Catholic because that wasn't the crux of it. There wasn't lots of self-flagellating. It was just a little bit of it. Goes on the assumption that you've got things to confess. You don't have to go into detail about them. It's just about asking for forgiveness for them. That's all fine. All of that I'm okay with. There were just two bits that are kind of pertinent to what we talk about. But again, I don't want to go into detail. I just want to ask the listener if they know what the rector might have been speaking about, because he was quite a smart guy. I didn't get a real vibe from him that he was being manipulative any more than the whole thing you might feel is. But he said that there is actual research. There is actual research that says that newborns understand the concept of God, that they're born believing. And I turned to Amy at that point and said, "Citation needed. I feel like I need a citation for that because that's fairly specific."
Yeah.
I can think of a whole bunch of reasons why a child, once they are old enough to be asked, might have a vaguely creationist perspective of the world because as far as they're concerned, everything comes from them and then everything comes from their mother. That's the person who's there all the time. It's easy for so I understand. I kind of get it, but newborns and I'd like to see the science.
I would too. Did you challenge him?
I didn't. It didn't seem like the time. There was also a bit where he was talking about the science that apparently there is also research. For all I know, he pulls out a couple of bits of scientific research for every sermon. I don't know, but there's also a bit of research that he mentioned about how children who have faith. And apparently they did. He actually said they researched lots of people, but it was mainly using Christian faith. Are less prone to things like being depressed in later life. He didn't say depression. He didn't say like mental health. He wasn't talking about actual chemical imbalances, but like anxiety and depression and stuff like that. And I can sort of see where that might be the case. I
had a lot to do with the Christian church when I was younger, and we've got a very close friend who had an awful lot to do with the Christian church when he was younger. Neither of us are adverts for that particular theory, although we're not a very scientific cohort, I will concede.
Yes, and you don't have any faith.
Not now, no.
But I suspect that I can see where there'd be truth in that. I can see where if you took control groups and you took people who believe that there is a purpose to everything, like genuinely believe that there is a purpose to everything, and people who really don't know what the fuck it's all about, that you would find that the people who don't know what the fuck it's all about are more prone to anxiety and stuff like that. I kind of get it, but I feel like you can't just throw research out like that and not cite your sources. It's kind of important.
Well, also, it kind of is kind of deceptive because having faith in God and feeling happy doesn't make God any more real or any less real, does it?
No.
I mean, I will concede that the traditional Christian values, by and large, that inform our laws are excellent. You know, they're pretty good. You know, don't kill people, don't steal stuff, be nice to people.
Something about an ox.
Yeah, don't kiss cows.
Coveting.
Yeah, don't cover cows. That's all good stuff, you know. But the fact that it makes you happy and cheerful doesn't mean God fucking exists at the end. So you shouldn't use the fact that people like it as... He wasn't using it as evidence that God exists, was he?
No, because that wasn't even up for discussion, and I understand that. I'm quite comfortable with the idea that if I go into a church, that the people there are on balance going to believe in God, in the same way that I understand that if I go to a conference where prominent atheists are speaking, that it's probably accepted that women are going to get molested in the lifts. These are things I understand are. But
then surely what he's using there is the tactics of a New York New York mobster that walks in. That's a nice sense of well-being you got there. I'd hate to see anything happen to it. You know, you might want to make sure you carry on believing on God. I'd hate to see you have to be prescribed with some antidepressants there.
I feel a little bit guilty because on the one hand, I feel like somehow I've ended up characterising the man as way. Well, he was lovely, and on the other hand, I think we've just highlighted how badly you need to be doing weekly podcasting because that was your New York mobster.
Almost. No, that was an East End.
Yeah,
sorry, that was definitely an East End gangster. You can edit that all together though, so it makes sense.
You'd like to think.
No,
I'll just leave it. It's
probably
fine.
not.
There were other things you wanted to talk about.
Because this is related. I finished reading the His Dark Materials trilogy.
Kind of peters out a little bit, doesn't it?
Do you think?
I really liked what he was doing with the final book, but there's all that stuff. Thematically, it fits, but all the stuff about the completely alien, the woman who finds herself in this completely alien landscape.
Oh, I love that. I love all that.
Is amazing, but it feels at odds with some of. It just kind of for me, it felt lumped in there for it to be introduced in the final book of a trilogy and take up quite a lot of it. Just felt a bit.
I loved it. In terms of the Voyager Discovery, that character went on, and thereby I think the reader kind of went on in terms of the understanding of how the universe works. The like chance and coincidence being a huge part of how fates of worlds develop. I thought it was actually. I just felt it was kind of a weird gear change in so much as there is a build up to a huge. Confrontation. There's going to be a huge battle. There's going to be, and it's all a bit. Both the main characters on what would be defined as the enemy side, kind of dealt with like really briefly. And there's a couple of major characters that are that go with one of the characters that I'm not sure. It's almost. I think you're right in so much as it's almost like that had to be got done with so we could concentrate on this other concept that maybe had sort of come into being, as much as I loved it.
Yeah, it's just because the second book starts somewhere new, but very quickly...
Winchester.
Yes.
I love the fact that Will comes from Winchester.
But it very, very quickly aligns with... It becomes part of the same story as the first book, and that doesn't quite happen as fluidly in the last. I do really like it though. I think it's very good.
I read Subtle Knife and Amber Spyglass back to back. It didn't feel. It felt like it flowed very well to me, but then
that's how they would have made the films if they'd made the films.
I haven't seen the first film. I'm very upset they fumbled it now because I'd love to see the creatures in that alternate universe. I'd like to see those realised. It's a wonderful concept.
The first film is worth watching, but the first 10 minutes are frustrating. It's like the studio didn't trust the filmmaker, and so there's it basically it describes all of the different races and stuff using footage from later in the film when they are introduced perfectly well by the narrative.
He needs a director's cut then.
Probably, but we'll never get that.
No.
What else? Baby stuff. Noah is, since we last spoke, he is just still doing his weird little not quite English talking where he goes tucky, 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 tuck. He makes these funny noises. They're so cute.
Well, he's partially Greek Cypriot, so you've got to expect
it's not really Greek noises.
Is it not? Okay.
No, more like sort of dolphin-y / East Asian. And I landed on East Asian because it seemed like the most appropriate thing to... It's probably not, is it?
No, not now.
Can't say Oriental.
Definitely not.
But Chinese seems very specific.
If in doubt, go Southeast Asian.
Southeast Asian, okay.
Yeah.
My geography's not great.
Yeah, no, I'm insulting loads of you. Don't worry about it. It's non-specific.
So anyway, he's doing that. He was amazing at both the christening and because they were both very long days, lots of standing around, not really geared towards children. And he was really well behaved, both of them. We did have a difficult night in a Travelodge, but I think
who hasn't?
Nights in travel, yeah, exactly. And he wasn't grumpy then. He just didn't want to go to sleep. No. So one of us was up with him until I was up with him, like walking him around a Travelodge until about 3 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock or maybe about 1:30. I don't know. Probably not.
2:30 is about the time I normally wake up these days, and then can't sleep for the rest of the night. We'll talk about my insomnia in a future episode.
Amy did lots of driving though, and Noah, she was great, and Noah was really great. More people touching her stomach at the. My family didn't do that last time, but I think they needed to distract themselves when we saw them. So. People were very kind, considering all of the other stuff they had in their minds. Noah's using a walker. He's got like this Thomas the Tank Engine thing.
Just to clarify, they were touching her tummy more at the funeral than they were at the christening.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, because the people at the christening didn't really know who she was. So, but anyway, he's got a Thomas the Tank Engine walker. We've moved that upstairs. Mm-hmm. The floor downstairs is basically just not paneling. What is it? It's like laminate. And so you can't really trust him on a walker down there because the wheels skitter around all over the place. So we moved him upstairs. We had the carpeting, and he's actually moving around quite quickly on it. Awesome. Lots of what looks like walking. Yesterday he stood up for about 4 seconds, didn't really realise what he'd done before grabbing hold of something again. So things are moving apace.
Fantastic.
You haven't asked me about my penis.
I was going to earlier when you were talking about the Ventolin inhaler, and when your penis went in my head and then out my head again. Let me put it in my head again. Nick, how's your penis?
Two things have happened.
Right.
One of them, I've been connected to this. I've been listening to Stacey's Pop Culture Parlour, the 24-hour thing. I listened to the episode that was me and Lee Gallagher. His bit was way better than mine.
There must have been a lot of penis talk.
Well, he said Lee was quite surprised. He actually commented on his that he was amazed that I hadn't mentioned my penis because apparently he thinks of this and the late Momcast as that they might as well be renamed at some point to the Nick Penis Cast or something like that. I don't think I talk about it that much.
Well, you do,
but I did have a moment the other day where I can't remember where we were. I think it was when we were. I think it was when we were at the in-laws, and I just got out of the shower. I'm not normally very impressed with myself when I'm at rest.
Okay, you really are a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, I really am. And the previous night we had a conversation about all of the sexting, all of the stolen and then shared, not leaked. The stolen and then shared celebrity nude photos, and there was some discussion of why would someone do that? And I was like, well, if you're really into someone and you're excited and someone asks you to do something, quite often you do it.
No, I can totally get my head around that. That would be a really cool thing to do. I think if people have nice bodies and they want to capture those in photographs, fucking do it.
And you and show them to people to get excited. So we'd had that discussion, and I was there, and I was thinking, God, I wish Amy was here, or at least someone, because I look pretty good. I mean, my tummy's still there a little bit, but I look, okay, things are going well.
Okay.
But earlier on, I was in the loo here at work, having a comfort wee, so I was sitting down, and I was quite glad that I'm not particularly...
Well endowed?
Not particularly endowed, because I was sitting there, I'd had my wee, and sometimes it's because there was stuff in the toilet when I sat down in the bottom of the toilet, and so I was quite desperate. But I did the flush to get rid of the stuff, but I was in quite a hurry, so then I got myself ready, sat down, and thankfully, just a fraction of a second before the water would have hit anything that mattered, because of my lack of endowment. Basically, the toilet was clogged up. So all of someone else's so the toilet started flooding. It didn't overflow. Yeah. But had I been a more impressive man,
you might have got it on your penis.
Somebody else's
poo on your penis.
Yeah, wouldn't have been very nice.
No. No, once it comes out, you don't want it on your penis.
No. Well, to be honest, other people's, even if it was just someone else's wee, I wouldn't like that very much.
No. Well, to each their own, isn't it?
Yeah. And to the victor the prize.
I think I've discussed on this show before where I was prescribed antidepressants a few months ago. I've found that it's given me what they call retarded ejaculation.
We're allowed to use the word because it's medically
because it's just describing it. Yeah,
ejaculation is the word we should be using.
Yes.
And retarded.
Really threw me. How do you confuse a stupid person? It did take me. I found it really distressing to start with.
Yeah,
because it's a complete change to. I've come quite a lot over the years. I was very keen on manual manipulation. No,
at times it's been my favourite thing, then immediately my most dismaying and depressing thing.
I think I was so keen on masturbation, even though I was in a very happy sexual relationship from the age of 15. There was a period from about the age of 14 to, I'd say, my mid to late 20s, where I pretty much came every day, regardless of what came. And I know definitely until about 23, 24, I definitely came every single day. It would be the last thing. It's a bit like drinking your cocoa as a young man. You have your wank and then you go to sleep, don't you?
It's you time.
Yeah. But I'm starting to get used to it now, and actually starting to enjoy the fact that I can be a better partner in bed possibly for Nicola. I'm not so preoccupied with not coming that I can actually, it's more enjoyable. Although I was quite surprised, I actually managed to do it in under 20 minutes the other day, and actually found, that was very quick.
You're making me quite angry
now.
Yeah,
but 20 minutes 4 months ago was like I'd have been having to punch myself in the face, imagine Doc Cotton, all sorts of things.
Can do it about 4 times if one doesn't account for refractive period.
But there are 2 things I'm terrified now about coming off antidepressants. One is I feel as good as I've felt since my teens, mentally. And B, I'm really worried I go back to being shit in bed.
Do you ever have to come off them, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, apparently. I'm going to plead with my doctor not to. I mean, if there's no...
Please let me take them till I die.
If there's no like negative long-term effects from taking them, can I just always have these? Because I can't see any downsides at the moment.
Other people who are a little bit more egotistical than you, which seems like a stretch, but I mean, yeah, are like, I don't like who they make me. I don't like who they make me. They make me someone different. I don't like it. I like my old personality. I want it back. And you're like, nope, goodbye to that shit.
Yeah, I fucking hate my old personality. He's a grumpy fucking morose cock. I hate him.
I'm happier without him.
Yeah, I like the medicated me. I'm much fucking nicer. I had a friend come around the other day I'd not seen for a few months. And he'd seen Nicola more recently and they discussed it. And he actually said to me, oh, fucking hell, mate, I can tell. You're so much easier to get on with, Just less sketchy around people, less paranoid, less jumpy. It's lovely.
I don't know. It feels like it used to fuel me more than it has done recently. Anxiety and stuff like that. I used to get lots of stories out of it.
I thought I'd missed the manic ups because I can be very creative. Certainly on our podcast, I know there's a couple of characters and stuff that have come out of me being on a manic up.
They still come around, though, every now and then.
But, yeah, I still get giddy occasionally. It's just like getting giddy now isn't terrifying because I know there isn't going to be a great big crash on the far side of it.
I can see that. That makes sense. I want to open the floor to our listeners about who have had children or who are having children. Yes. And I want to ask you about this, but I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I'm not sure entirely how to broach it. That sounds like I'm about to start talking about my cock again.
You shouldn't put a brooch on your cock. That's too far.
Might be a lifestyle thing. You don't get to dictate.
Hey.
Birth plan. Did you do a birth plan, James?
No.
You didn't do a birth plan?
We waited and then turned up on the day. We were dreadful.
Did you talk about how that was going to go, though, approximately? Like the basics?
Can I just, in a nutshell, the reason that we came to where we are, Nikki and I, it took a very long time to conceive. Nikki, when she was younger, had scoliosis, so she got a metal rod in her back. So there were like various things going on that we both agreed very early on that when it was time, we would turn up at the hospital and we would be guided by the clinicians in terms of what was best for us. There was no preconceived notion of doing anything other than that, and I'm really glad we did because it made the fact Nikki had to have an emergency C-section, and it made the decision to say yes really easy because we'd already pre-planned to just say yes.
That's what we did. Well, that's kind of what we did. We knew what we wanted to do. We were led to believe, and I don't want to go on to this too much because this is quite quite a rat hole, but we were led to believe by the NCT hippie lady that we might get more pushback from the NHS than we actually did. All of us, or all of the NCT people felt that they were surprised by how much the midwives wanted to make it as natural as possible for all of them. So we were quite lucky as well, because we didn't have to make that many decisions about medical intervention, or that it didn't really come up that much. But when we were prepared for it when it did. I'd like to know about other people's birth plans and whether and how specifically about how family are involved. See, I think that now the way most people are, there's an understanding that you'll visit the following day, maybe in the hospital to see the baby, if the mother and the baby are still there. And you'll be around at the end of a phone if they need you, but you will leave them alone for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, quite right, yeah, of course.
I assumed that was just how things work. But maybe listener, maybe your family, maybe you live 2 doors down from your family and they were around the whole time, or maybe you needed them, maybe there was stuff you needed from them. Maybe there are very good reasons why. I don't want to get bogged down in the specifics of this situation.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure other people have had situations where there was negotiating about what was going to happen. I'd like to know, though, I know lots of our listeners have had babies, and so it would be interesting to know what they think, what their experiences were. We haven't been able to talk about the Clarkey did send us a link to a post that we wanted to talk about. We haven't been able to. We'll probably do that next week.
Was that the HuffPo one?
Yeah, if we remember.
Oh, I like that. That's good. We should talk about
it's
that.
It's good. I'll put it in the show notes, though. It's a post at the Huffington Post. It's all right. It's more like a puff piece, but it's nice.
It's more a long-form poem, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. Which was kind of my problem with it.
Ode.
That's besides the point. Maybe we can assume that every parent, is really good.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can assume that some of them are really bad, and it's none of our business either way.
To the mother hitting their child at the park.
I'm sure you had your reasons. Listener, we are two grown men. You can contact us, either of us, on Twitter. I am at Nixsight, NIXSIGHT. James is at
James MOMB.
Yes, James Momb. It's a family name.
It is.
You can also send us email at 2gmpodcast@gmail.com.
That's correct.
And we'd love to hear from you. You can talk to us on Facebook. You can talk to me on Facebook. There is a Two Grown Men page on Facebook as well. There's a 2GM Twitter account, actually, but I always forget to mention that. I think that's it. That's us.
Thank you for listening.
Good to have you back, James.
It's good to be back.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Her mum's seen her tackle.
A very long time ago. Amy's not that big on the idea of it happening again, I don't think, anytime soon. So,
because I've got a very vivid picture in my mind of what my
Amy's tackle.
What my daughter's looks like.
I think it changes over time.
Well, I'm assuming it's going to get larger.
Maybe. I don't
Fucking
know.
hell.
I don't really understand how ladies work.
I don't, of all the things I've said over the years we've podcasted together, I can't think of anything wronger I think I've ever managed to say.